Hey everyone, we are going to start today with drawing eye practice with one pencil. You can see I'm just going to use this yellow number 2 pencil. I'll show you this one that actually has the 2 on it. And this is the only pencil I used to create this value scale. I already started here. You can see there's 8 steps. The last one is white. I'm going to just label it white down here. And the other one is going to be black as you can get. If we were in school and had a 6B, or maybe you have a 6B at home, you use that. But I just used a crosshatch technique and a tissue and a pink pearl eraser. That's all I've used to create this value scale. And I use crosshatch because I can layer. Just the way we did with the white pencil when we did our reverse value scale, and it was easier to layer on top. I actually made my black first, and then I went back to the white and I started light because it's easier to go darker. So I recommend when you make your 8-step value scale, you start to do that. And then you can just add more layers on top. I just used a regular tissue. I don't have a tortillon here, and I blended it to make it nice and smooth. I used my pink pearl eraser to kind of make the breaks in between. But as you can see here, I can just add more layers on top as this one looks to be the same value as the one before. And you can just play around, and you can see you can get a nice variety of value even with one yellow pencil for those of you who just have one pencil at home. So our goal is to get all of these values in our eye. Okay, and if you want to take a tissue or a piece of toilet paper or a paper towel at home to blend and make your values look a little bit smoother, that's okay. So just adjust. Like this one, I think I have to make a little bit lighter so I can it's not as fun with it without a kneaded eraser, but you can still take a nice little layer off top to try and adjust to make your values look like they get from dark to light. And that's kind of what I did to do the majority of this scale before we got to this video, because I didn't want to waste too much time showing you guys how to do a scale you already know how to do. But again, just layering each step. So I'm going to start with the eyes by making a straight guideline. Notice I'm just making a straight line. I don't need a ruler. And then you're going to start with a circle, because remember that your eye socket, the bone around the eye socket, is a circle. Important that you have the circle symmetrical on that line, and you could just use your pencil to measure that the top and the bottom are equal. And then remember that your eyes are one eye space apart. So you want to measure the distance. Again, you could use your pencil or you could use your fingers. And you want to place your eyes approximately one eye space apart. A few people who have already turned in their eyes, I noticed that they're not one eye space apart, and that's important. And again, then you want to make your other eye socket a round circle, measure so that they're even. You can just lay your pencil across and make a circle that's even with your first circle, all right? This is the back of an old paper, so I have some coffee stain on where this circle is. But again, we're just practicing. So this circle's a little bit bigger. I want to erase it and make it approximately the same size. How I like to work is I like to get my circles even, and then I start with one eye at a time. And I apologize, the light down here is not great, and I'm waiting for a light to come in. So at the top of our eye socket, we know is an eyebrow. I put in an eyebrow shape, and then I'm going to put in my eye shape. We know stretches from one side of the circle to the other. We also know that the top part of your eye is, more of a rainbow over that straight line, and then on the bottom runs closer to the line. So once you have a nice looking eye shape, you can start to put in your iris. Remember that your iris is a circle, but no one sees the entire circle. So they're more like, I always tell you in drawing one, they're more like parentheses. And then in the middle of your eye, the pupil, is also a circle, but we don't want to draw a full circle because we need to include the catch lights. That's one thing most of you were missing when you turned in your last assignment. So I tell people to make it more like a C. I apologize, this camera is not as close to my hand as I realized, so I'll make sure on the next video it is. And then you want to thicken up the eye. There's my hair hanging out. My eye lid, because right where your eyelashes come out, you want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to darken that up, and then I'm going to make a line above that, which is your crease line, and then I want to make sure that when I'm shading in the iris, I maybe put some lines in around the pupil first, so that you can see that the eye has like those radiating lines from the pupil. And then I'm going to shade in inside of the pupil. And I am going to leave some circles there to remind myself not to shade in those areas, because those are going to be the catch lights in the eye. Those are super important so that your eye does not look like a zombie. Okay? Also, the whites of your eyes aren't going to be white like the paper. They're still going to have some value in them. And I'm going to use my finger and smudge all around the area that I made the circle, which is the eye socket, because you want it to be darker in that area because it wants to be sunken in your head. All right? And I'm going to darken up the area where my eyelashes are going to come out. And remember, your eyelashes are subtle. They're not sticks that come out of your eyes. So draw them lightly. Very few people have very thick stick-like lashes. And again, if you want to add some lashes on the bottom, they're very subtle. Okay? So do it lightly. You can always darken them up. I'm going to go back in. And I am going to lay down one of these darker tones in the shape of my eyebrow. Again, when you're doing hair and you're doing the eyebrow, you want to lay in a base value first. So I can just go ahead and use my pencil and darken in the tone for the eyebrow. Once I have the shape in there, then I can go in and draw some individual eyebrow lines so it has more texture. So again, I am going to draw some darker lines in for the eyebrow. And remember, they go straight up and down towards the center of your forehead. And as they come around the side, they go sideways. And they can stick out a little bit. If I had a really thin eraser, when I was done, I'd go back in and pull out some highlights. But I'm going to use my finger a lot and smudge all of this graphite that's on the paper in with my finger so that there's a lot of value around the eye socket. Again, so my eye looks like it's sunken in the page. Okay? I can use my eraser and points to kind of pull out that little area underneath. And then you want to go ahead once you're done and you want to try and match up everything the same. Again, you want all of those values that are up in your value scale around and in your eye. All right, so I'm going to speed up the second eye so you don't have to watch it at slow pace. So there's a close-up look at the eye, all the little details and all the values next to my value scale. Keep your value scale in front. They should be one eye space apart. And really important, the catch lights. All right, these are some basics. The more you practice, the better you get.